I am Patty Perillo, and I have the joy of serving as the Vice President for Student Affairs, and it is my privilege and honor to welcome you to our service today called Veterans Voices. At this time, I request that you please stand as you are able for the presentation of the colors by the Maryland Honor Guard, and then remain standing for the playing of the America the Beautiful by the student-led musical organization, the University of Maryland Jazz Quintet. Thank you. Now that was beautiful. Let us show our support. Please continue standing as we enthusiastically welcome our students from the College Park Academy. Kindly join them in the Pledge of Allegiance. Students, please begin. Thank you, students, for leading us through our nation's pledge. And now, with the honor guard, post the colors, please. Thank you to the Honor Guard, College Park Academy students, and to the University of Maryland Jazz Quintet. Students, you may now return to your seats. I invite everyone else to please be seated for the invocation. This reflection will be offered by University Chaplain Wonderful Ray Ranker and Senior Alex Yelovich, both of the Humble Walk. We are grateful that they are here to offer this invocation.
As the son of an Air Force veteran, I enjoyed hearing my dad's stories about friendship and connection. I heard about all the snow as he was stationed in North Dakota. I heard about life on the base, about the opportunities that were afforded to my father through the armed forces. I heard about the learning and the growth. I heard about the difficulties, but I especially heard about the joy of serving one's country.
And I will lead us in prayer. Today we give thanks, O God, as you guide your people in diligent service. Bless the officers and enlisted women and men of the Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Space Force, and Coast Guard as they perform the duties of their calling. Guide them as they courageously defend our nation from every foe, promote justice, honor, and unity among our people, and serve as a means of fostering mutual respect and understanding among all peoples of the world. Today, we especially give thanks for all those who have answered this call. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Ray and Alex. We will now listen to a video message from University President Darrell J. Pines. Dr. Pines regrets that he cannot join us in person today because of other important university business. Throughout his career at Maryland, first as a professor and then as Dean of the School of Engineering, Dr. Pines has advocated for and mentored student veterans finding their way through the university and onto careers related to their studies. And now, as university president, Dr. Pines continues to champion the magnificent contributions of our veterans across campus and the work of the campus units that support our veterans. President Pines.
Son of a U.S. Air Force veteran, it is my honor to express our entire community's profound gratitude and appreciation for our veterans and current military members. Since being dedicated in 1952 to the University of Maryland men and women who gave their lives in the service of their country, our chapel has been a place where our campus gathers to celebrate, mourn, and remember our veterans. In fact, this year marks the 16th anniversary of our Veterans Day commemoration at the chapel, and it is a privilege to continue this tradition honoring the students, staff, and alumni who embody the values of resilience, solidarity, loyalty, and integrity. During our program today, we will have the honor of listening to TERP veterans share their stories and shed light on how their military service has profoundly influenced them. As we remember the dedication of our veterans, let us also remember our responsibility to support them for what they have sacrificed on behalf of our country. Thank you for joining us in respect and gratitude for those who have given so much.
As President Pines indicated, today we are celebrating and remembering the University of Maryland veteran community. We extend our gratitude to Maryland veterans and all veterans who have returned from service and the active duty military serving at the present time. We really do cherish the individual stories of fortitude and service that each represents. We also hold in our hearts the names of dedicated and courageous University of Maryland veterans who have passed away, some of them in the line of duty. The University of Maryland is well known today for its support of student veterans. In a U.S. News and World Report education report, UMD is ranked 24th in the 2025 list of best colleges for veterans, 24th out of nearly 4,000 colleges and universities in this country. So let us give a round of applause for the service of UMD vets over time and our institution's commitment to our veterans. Ever since its origins 72 years ago, this memorial chapel has served as a place where veteran achievements are recognized. Today's event marks the 16th annual University Celebration of Veterans, with many other programs that are happening throughout this month to bring together veterans and others and raise campus awareness of veteran contributions. As we kick off today's observance of veterans, members of the Mighty Sound of Maryland will come to the stage to play an armed services medley. I ask all veterans and current military to stand and be recognized when their branch's theme is played. Family and friends, of course, are encouraged to honor the veterans in their lives by standing during the appropriate song, because we certainly know that veteran life is family life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mighty Sounds of Maryland. We appreciate you being here today to offer such a celebratory salute to our veterans and their families. Such a splendid performance to honor our veterans. You just even broke out and clap and cheer. It was so wonderful. Our event this afternoon is a bit different than recent Memorial Chapel programs marking Veterans Day. Today, we're going to focus on the storytelling aspect of the veteran experience, as told from the perspective of students and young alumni. Members and former members of the university's Terps Vets student organization will come forward to share their individual stories of service. Will Jones from the Veteran Student Life Unit in the Division of Student Affairs will introduce these veterans to us and tell us about the unique storytelling initiative of which they are a part. And as Will comes to the stage to introduce these veterans, let us thank him for his service and his commitment. Here he is.
Hear me now?
There we go. Just a few technical difficulties up here, but good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. There we go. So my name is Will Jones. I'm the coordinator for Veteran Student Life here at the University of Maryland College Park, and an Army veteran myself. I served in the 82nd Airborne Division, deployed once to Iraq in 2017. First off, I just want to take a second to say thank you to everybody who's in attendance today, especially those veterans, military-connected, active duty, reservists, Guard. Thank you, seriously. So again, this year is a bit different as we celebrate our veterans, both our student veterans, our alumni veterans, and everybody else here from the community. On October 16th of this year, I had an amazing opportunity to work with the ASAP, which is the Armed Services Arts Partnership, as well as the Clarice Performing Arts Center, to host a storytelling workshop, which prepared all three of these student veterans here that you see today to share their experience, to share their stories, so that you guys can really understand what it means to be a veteran. And the ASAP is a national nonprofit where veterans and military-connected community thrive through the arts. This includes storytelling, comedy and improv, writing, as well as visual arts. It's their mission to combat isolation and improve the well-being of our veterans through social connections, confidence, resilience, and giving veterans the tools and new tools to really process their experiences, as so many of us kind of struggle to do so. So please join me in welcoming Tim White, Andrea Benedetti, and Mike Cortese. Tim White was born and raised in Orange County, California. He joined the U.S. Army after high school, where he became a healthcare specialist and eventually would spend 10 years on active duty, being stationed in Kentucky, Afghanistan, Germany, Maryland, Korea, and Texas. He's now a UMD student, and he's completed a minor in Chinese and is finishing his undergraduate degree in electrical engineering. Constantly fascinated by the future of the electrical grid, he hopes to work in an ever-expanding field related to electrical transmission modernization, that's a mouthful, and climate change mitigation. And while here at UMD, Tim's passionately continued to advocate for STEM educational access and serves as the president for our student organization, Terp Vets.
Thank you, Will. Celebrating Veterans Day. When we initially got the storytelling workshop going, I kind of just had a moment of, where to begin? But we do celebrate Veterans Day, I think I came across one word that kept on coming up over and over and over again, and it was transition. You transition in the military. You know, that is their mission. They will get you ready for one thing and then quickly get you ready for another. I joined after high school. About 50 pounds lighter, a little bit more prepubescent face, hair about down to here. And yeah, a year after basic training and AIT, I was a medic in Afghanistan, maintaining the health of the force on everything from day-to-day sick call and helping people to just maintain their mild injuries to, I guess, some of the worst days in Afghanistan and keeping my brethren alive. It's interesting as we reflect on that, though, that the word transition keeps coming back up. 10 years on active duty, as Will said in my bio, from anywhere from Kentucky to Korea. And strangely, the transition to college would still be the hardest thing that I ever did. And it's not for lack of preparation. The Army trains you. The Army will train you to be 15 minutes prior to everything you do in your life. But you'll also find out that showing up 15 minutes for math class doesn't guarantee that you're going to understand everything the professor went over. The Army will teach you to communicate, both as an NCO and as a soldier, to accomplish the mission. But I still wouldn't be able to communicate to my professor what I wasn't understanding. The Army teaches you teamwork makes the dream work. But as we go through college, we realize that you don't even begin to understand how hard it is to find a team in your new academic peers. And often you just continue to get feelings of otherness, being an outsider. I think what sums it up is that in a perverse way, the military would train you how to deal with Afghanistan. But it would be flunking differential equations that got you to understand that you needed to get into therapy, that you needed to seek mental health. And that transition is where TERP Vets comes in. It's where UMD comes in. It was in the TERP Vet Lounge that I finally discovered a group of peers, of veteran peers, but peers nonetheless, that would form the bedrock of my study group that helped me navigate academia. It was with a seat at the Student Advisory Council table with advocates like Patty Perillo, that helped us find champions in the faculty to acknowledge when there were barriers that we couldn't overcome. It would ultimately get the gears turning on how the UMD could better address those issues. It would be, of course, UMD's behavioral health services that not only helped me understand that I need to readdress behavioral health, but it would also show me how to pay for those services, show me how to navigate the complex medical networks. As I prepare for my next transition from college to career, it's hope that I hold on to that TERP Vets will continue to exist so it can prepare the next generation of students here, student veterans, and give them the same support that they gave me. And I hope that I can continue to be a part of that even after I graduate. Thank you.
So our next speaker is Andrea Benedetti. Andrea is a proud veteran who served 4 years in the U.S. Army as a signal support specialist. He was stationed in Korea with the Field Artillery Unit and later at Fort Riley, Kansas with the Special Troops Battalion. During his service, he contributed to his military community by participating in the Big Brothers program overseas, serving as a Better Opportunities for Single Soldiers representative and actively volunteering in local community projects. After his honorable service, he returned to Maryland, where he earned a bachelor's degree majoring in criminal justice with a minor in psychology, followed by a master's degree in business management of nonprofit organizations and associations from the University of Maryland. During his time of transition, he was supported by on-campus groups like TERP Vets and the UMUC Veteran Supports staff and counselors.
Blessings, everybody. My story starts off in DC, where I was born, and I was raised in South Carolina. I was raised by my grandmother, who instilled a lot of biblical principles on me to this day. Thinking about being a veteran, coming where I'm from, it's like a challenge on top of a challenge at times. But yet, your challenges become greater opportunities. It's like I grew up without my parents. My grandmother did the best she could, and throughout that time period, I rebelled a lot. So the decisions I was making weren't significant for my life, for the long run. And I still never forget this day that I was actually walking to my sister's house where I was staying at the time, around like 19 years old, and a recruiter, she happened to offer me a ride. I saw the uniform. I just was like, I'm not getting in the car with her. She still gave me her contact information and told me, let me know if you ever need anything. So she really didn't hit me with the whole recruiting line at first, but 2 weeks later, I'm in a situation where I might need somebody. And well, my grandma, she told me to pray, which I did. And I end up in the Met's office getting ready for my ASVAB, thinking in my head, what am I doing? Yet a joint basic training went from cornrows, afro out all the time, to free haircut, free clothes for next 3 months. I ain't got to worry about none of that. Ain't got to worry about chores, except for other chores, the military chores. But it gave me a sense of direction, which my purpose was already in my pain, but I had nowhere to direct it. And on top of that, my grandmother did instill a lot of principles and morals in me, but I never really checked back on those. So, like I said, there's a lot of different things that come along with being a veteran, which there's anxiety on top of anxiety, depression on top of depression, even suicide ideations that challenges a lot of us to this day. And that's kind of the reason why I'm here, is because of that. Throughout my military service overseas in Korea, there were soldiers that were there with me who aren't here today. But those soldiers are actually the ones who helped me get through certain situations. And going into getting out the military, dealing with all these different things, you think you transition from this and it's, oh, I'm out the Army and everything's gonna be. Nah. Life's still there. There's all the issues before the military, on top of the issues you got that come with you, from physical injuries to mental injuries. And on top of that, I'm going to school. I was just like, I'm gonna get my degree, make my grandmother proud, and go on about my business. But yet, God still has a purpose that's greater than my own understanding. And it was so challenging going through school, getting a degree on top of planning for the next one, and everything still just trying to make it to the next day. But yet, Terp Vets was one of the things that helped me overcome that challenge, feeling like I'm not the oldest person in class anymore. Having other people that actually understand why you feel like, why I can't sit down in class the whole time. And just understanding different challenges that we go through as veterans. The fact that usually Veterans Day is a Memorial Day, part 2. And I feel like what we doing here now, hearing our voices, understanding where we come from, and seeing that there is life within our veterans. And I just, everything she taught me ended up being what the military brought out of me. So now to this day, all I do is serve. Like, I do the best I can. And the military kind of gave me that avenue too. I got in trouble in the military, so I ended up having to do the right thing to get back on track. Better opportunities for single soldiers, because it is hard as a single soldier in the military. You get underlooked a lot on so many different aspects. But yeah, I just want to really bring up that pain part, because within that pain part, there's still that purpose part. And that's where it's like, you put that seed in there and the flower blooms from there. So I really just want to like take this time I have right here to give a moment of silence for not people who are gone, but for ourselves. So we don't have to be silent when we feel like we need to be silent and we need to speak up. I appreciate y'all.
And our last student speaker for today is Michael Cortese. He is the Sustainability Plant Manager for the University of Maryland Libraries and an economics student here at the university. He's a former U.S. Coast Guard member with experience in search and rescue operations, and he now leads initiatives in environmental stewardship with veteran advocacy on campus. Michael heads the UMD Libraries Plant Program, promoting wellness and sustainability, and serves on the library assessment and sustainability committees. He's the treasurer for Terp Vets, the student veteran organization, where he supports military-affiliated students in their transition to civilian and academic life.
Hello, Maryland, and thank you for being here all today. And, you know, that was such a beautiful talk you just put on, seriously. It's hard to follow up from that, but thank you for sharing your words. I'm here today to support those that can't necessarily support themselves in this moment. That's why I joined Terp Vets. I want to be that leg for people to, come and use me, and you can use me as stand up and, make yourself feel good. I came from Long Island, New York. I fell in love with the water. I grew up on a boat. My dad had a fishing boat, and I always saw the Coast Guard when I was out there. I ended up going to SUNY Maritime when I was 18, and then I ended up joining the Coast Guard when I was 22. Did 6 years in it. I served out in Coast Guard Station in Quinta Bay at the small boat station there. We worked on heavy weather, search and rescue response, such as utilizing 47-foot, 52-foot more lifeboats. That was a crazy experience, going out to Oregon and seeing those waves out there and being the last person to actually save somebody. Like, you're the last line of defense. And it was a very eerie thing going out there knowing that. Then I ended up transferring over to TACLET South Miami, did tactical law enforcement missions there, and then ultimately DC, where I worked in headquarters. Served out my time there, did my paperwork, and you need to do that at least once in your career. And then I started coming to University of Maryland. I wanted to get a different outlook on life. But my main message being here today is that to know a veteran and what they're all about and what their message is to talk to them. Don't go and see the movies and think, that's your only reflection of a veteran, because, that's what normally people think, right? They think everyone is somebody that, is Forrest Gump and, they just filled out some paperwork one day and then, they made their way through. And veterans are so much more than that. We're individuals. We have our own individualistic meanings to life, but we all have one thing in common, is that we want to help other people. We want to make places safer. We want to give that hand of help to somebody in need. And I truthfully believe that that's how most of my veterans feel. Of course, you're going to get people who are outliers that might not think that way, but I believe that more than 95% of people are good people. Unfortunately, 5% paint the image of what the dark could be. But yeah, I want to, I guess I'm ending this talk today, I'm the last veteran, but be positive, enjoy living life, enjoy the freedom that you have. And, I understand that there might be some frustrations with the past of how America was. And our veterans weren't the reason for some of those events to happen. They signed their name up to do good in this world. And unfortunately, some of them end up in places signed by somebody high up that's never even served, and they have to do something that they don't want to do. And if they back off, if they run away from that, then you'll be a deserter, and then you'll ultimately go to jail. Granted, the other part is you'll get executed for deserting. So just know that if there's things that you do not agree upon in this world with what America does, these veterans, they want to do the best for you, and they're not the person to blame in all of this, because that's what ends up happening. That's how the Vietnam veterans came back, right? They got painted as these warmongers and these people that were not that. They were good people. And they should have got the respect that they should have got when they came back. And they are now. And we're seeing that, we've seen that happen. But I want you to know that, God's here with all of us today. And, God bless our troops. God bless everybody here today. It really is a blessing. I'm here to talk. And, thank you for giving me your full attention, everyone. Seriously, it really is a great day to be alive. And I hope you guys can take that on and try to spread some love around the world. So, thank you.
Again, I just want to say thank you to all three of you all for being here, for attending the workshop, for preparing to share your stories. As we transition, kind of how we run this event and how we celebrate our veterans, both again student, faculty, alumni, alumna, whatever the case is. Thank you. And again, I just want to say thank you all for being here to celebrate our veterans, and thank you for being attentive to this new idea, to this transition, and let's give a round of applause for these three.
Tim, Andrea, and Michael, I think I can speak for all of us here and say that you can't listen to your stories without being deeply affected, being deeply humbled, and being deeply grateful. Each of your stories is unique, and there were threads of connection through all of them. The call to serve, the will to live life to its fullest, transitions and big transitions, struggle and pain. And through all of it, what I know what rises above all of it for me is the fact that I am deeply grateful that each one of you is a Terp, that each one of you is a part of this community, that each one of you continues to move forward, that each one of you is a veteran, and that you are here right now sharing your story, because it's stories like yours that change people. So let us thank our colleagues again. So we thank you and all of our university veterans and members of the military who serve our country or who've served our country in times of peril and times of peace. And let us be inspired anew by your deep courage, your deep will, and your deep resilience. We also remember today 69 veterans associated with the University of Maryland community, alumni, faculty, and staff, who passed away this past year. Their names were shown during the prelude slide. It was the show that was moving forward as everybody came into the chapel, and are displayed in the chapel lobby, and they'll remain throughout the month of November. From 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. today, UMD ROTC cadets will hold a vigil in the front facade of the chapel for these 69 individuals and for all UMD veterans who are no longer with us. At 2:11 p.m. today, 2:11, the national moment of silence on Veterans Day, taps will be played on the front steps of the chapel in memory of these valiant members of our university community. The formal part of our program will conclude with a benediction by Lena Davis, president of our Muslim Students Association. The benediction will be followed by the playing of a patriotic medley by UMD alumnus and staff member Dylan Rye. Will the audience please rise? I ask that you remain in place until the honor guard retrieves the colors and begins the procession. Our audience from the front rows to the back rows will continue the procession, and the ushers will help direct you. We hope that you will be able to join us for lunch and veteran-themed ice cream, set up on the back patio of the new listening garden. And we will enjoy more wonderful musical selections by the Maryland Jazz Quintet. During lunch, please take the time to walk the meditative labyrinth in honor of a veteran, past or present. A guide will be present to offer instruction if needed. Once again, we thank you all for taking part in today's Veterans Recognition Service, and I know that I speak for all of us when I say that we are deeply touched and inspired by the important stories of our TERP veterans who shared their lives of service, their commitment, and their personal journeys.
In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, we are gathered here today to commemorate our veterans. Their strength, resilience, and selflessness goes beyond what I can put into words here today. Our veterans serve this nation at the highest level with greatness and honor. It is through their experiences that we must learn from and reflect. I would like to share a verse from chapter 49 of the Holy Quran that translates to, "O humanity, indeed we created you from a male and a female and made you into peoples and tribes so that you may get to know one another. Surely the most noble of you in the sight of God is the most righteous among you. God is truly all-knowing, all-aware." This verse acknowledges the differences that we all have, whether that be in background, culture, or experience. It is part of the divine design that we are all so different and that we all carry different stories. However, it is through these differences that we must learn to get to know one another, and we must learn to listen to one another. It is not the external attributes that define us, but our inner qualities, our actions, and our intentions that bears weight. Behind each veteran's uniform is a story of courage and sacrifice. It is a story shaped by trials, by moments of fear, and moments of bravery. Each veteran present today carries with them history. It is marked by the determination to protect and to serve. It is a history of standing firm in the face of adversity and protecting the values that define humanity. May God always enable us to use our strength to help the weak. May He enable us to use our tools for constructive purpose. And may the Almighty watch over us with His mercy as we navigate a world full of challenges and attempt to fill it with our love. As we reflect on the greatness of our veterans, we are reminded that true nobility lies not in status or rank, but in the righteousness of our actions. It is our veterans' unwavering commitment to justice, to peace, and to the well-being of others that makes them noble and honored. We must make an effort to know our veterans for the sacrifices that they have made, for their commitment to this nation, and we thank them for their service. Thank you.